Benny. I'm an artist from LA. I make retro pop music. I'm a singer and producer. I think what got me into music originally was hanging out with my friends early on in my childhood. They introduced me to a lot of new genres where I pretty much was fascinated by. They got me into rock music and metal, and that pretty much kind of opened the gates for me to explore music on my own, which led me to retro pop, metal, pop, and even R&B here and there, EDM. I personally create retro pop music, so if that's not something you're familiar with, it's something along the lines of like synthwave and synth pop. Pretty much mixing retro elements from like the 80s and combining it with like I'd say modern production, and I do vocals over that, and usually for this kind of genre vocals isn't really too much of a thing, so I usually try to just do my own vocals and make it work, and I think it does work for the most part. So, working on a mix right now. It sounds pretty good. I've been just trying to like figure out how to make the vocals not drown too much in the bass, which I noticed like is something kind of hard to achieve, but I gotta basically just clean up the frequencies, and make sure everything sounds good. All the right frequencies are sticking out and punching out at the right moment. My creative process varies, I think, in between each project because it really depends on my motivation in that current time. So if I'm feeling like I'm not motivated or I don't feel like creating, I'm not gonna force myself to create it, but I will go all in if I actually find something that I believe in and I can put my effort into. Spent a lot of years making music and producing music to the point where I have feel like I've built my own system to be efficient and to record myself quickly and mix my audio quickly and to have the certain effects and to have a certain sound that only I can kind of hear in my head. I think for the most part, I just try to strive to be a better person overall, and I'm really proud of that because I do feel like within the past couple of years I've changed a lot, especially since I moved out here to LA. I came here from Toronto originally, so it was kind of a big jump for my life. And coming here, it was it was interesting, but it did open my eyes in a lot of ways. And basically, I realized in order for me to move forward with my life and to be successful in everything that I do, I need to be like content with myself first and to allow myself to grow. So that's kind of where I'm at with that.
I'm running out of time. It feels too late. Can't hesitate. I'm running out. I'm running out of time.
My upbringing, I didn't really have too much of a rough life. My parents tried their best to support my brother and I, and we pretty much grew up pretty good for the most part. You know, aside from like bullying at school and stuff like that, which I definitely dealt with. I got bullied a lot in school, and I got beaten up in school too. I was an easy target for people because I just didn't really defend myself. But you know, over the years, I like I tried to just do what I could to build confidence within myself, and definitely my family and my parents. Everybody helped contribute to and encourage me to be me who I am now, and including my friends as well. I think they're pretty supportive of it. They do like my music. They always share my music to friends and family. They always hype me up whenever there's like a big moment in my career, which is always nice. It's always good to have that kind of support. Friends and family are great. They're probably my biggest source of encouragement. I realized I was really interested in the whole, retro aesthetic and 80s vibe. So for me, I just kind of leaned into that and basically tried to find artists that were making music like that. And I had discovered artists like Kavinsky, Daft Punk, which is slightly more modern on the modern side, but still has those like retro 80s elements in their music. Plus, Pet Shop Boys is a personal favorite of mine. Yeah, so I noticed like sometimes when I'm listening to certain mixes on like different speakers, you can't hear like the vocals at the it doesn't sound consistent on like all devices. So like that's why you got to make sure you have like a bunch of reference speakers and different audio devices you can check out and make sure like you're running your mix through that and make sure it sounds good. So far, yeah, I've been working on the song and it's been sounding pretty good, but I also have noticed on different devices it sounds a little muddy, so I have to like clean it up. So I've been just working on that right now. I'd say what I'm most proud of to date is my growth as a person because, on top of all the music and achievements and stuff that I enjoy creating, I also am really proud of me as a person because I feel like I've put a lot of energy and time into trying to better myself and just be the best version of myself in terms of, being aware of how I act or how I speak or the things that I say, taking accountability and having responsibility for the most part. I feel like I try to I maintain those
Never
traits and
thought I'd
characteristics.
ask, but you have this fantasy. We can make it reality. Let me join in on your fun. Don't want you to leave me out. I wanna join in on your fantasy. Don't want you to leave me out. You know that I'm around. We'll make it our reality. We can win it all together. Let's try and do better.
That's kind of the goal for me, the ultimate goal for me. I just want to be able to make good music that relates and connects to people on a deep level and allows them to have this like experience. And I don't I'm not even doing it just for the attention or anything like that. Like playing a live show really excites me because I get to be there present with my fans or like with my audience and we get to experience the same thing on the same level and just feel like we're transcending time in just like this tiny little bubble that we're in for a brief moment. So for me that excites me and I see myself just doing more of that and yeah, just making more good music, honestly. Interestingly enough, best advice I've been given is to not take everyone's advice. To be honest, because I feel like everybody has something to say, and sometimes it's not always the best thing that apply. It might work. It might have worked for them, in their context and situation or whatever that led them to make that decision or have that sort of conclusion for that advice. It could work for someone else, but it doesn't always work for everyone. And I think it's important to filter out through, you can always allow people to give you advice and you can always allow people to, you can always be open to other people's opinions, of course. And you can also filter out and see which ones apply to you the most and what you can take from that and help, help with your career, help with your growth, whatever it may be. I prefer performing, honestly. If I were if it was gonna really come down to it, it would probably be performing because it's exhilarating. Producing is great too, and it's super fun when you're in the studio, especially when you're collaborating with other people. It's a really it's a special experience. But performing for me, it's different because, like I said, I get to be there in the same place as my audience, and I get to experience my music, and I love singing, and I love like being able to sing my songs in front of people that are there to hear them, and it's just exhilarating because I get to bring energy, and I get to like feed off of people's energies as well, especially when I can see that they're having a good time. It makes me have a good time too, because at the end we're all having a good time. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that.
That's what I like to hear.
And thanks for having me.